So if you're looking to buy one of the best brand new phones you can get in 2020 and 2021, but like most other people, you don't want to spend over $1,000, then you're probably going to be looking at one of these two phones right here. So in my left hand, we have the new iPhone 12 from Apple. This is not the Pro Max, this is not the Mini. This is just the regular iPhone 12, which in my opinion is probably going to be one of the best sellers in that lineup, and I'll explain why later on in the video. Then in my other hand, we have the brand new Google Pixel 5, which is going to be the Android pretty much equivalent of the iPhone 12 here, and I'll break down the differences in this video. And I know there are a ton of other Android phones that are similarly priced and maybe have more features or better screen, and while all of that's true, I think most people looking at this price point don't really want a lot of those fringe features and would rather have one of the best cameras and a simple, robust operating system for a phone that just works and works really well, which is why the Google Pixel 5 is a great pick. And speaking of cameras, both of these phones, the iPhone 12 and the Google Pixel 5, are really widely considered to have some of the best cameras on the market today. So I'll compare that later on in the video. All right, so let's jump into the physical differences here. But first, I need to point out the price difference because that definitely has an impact on the build quality of these phones. The Pixel 5 is selling for $699, and the iPhone 12 here is selling for $799, but if you don't want a carrier, if you want an unlocked phone, it's going to be an extra $30. So you're looking at a price difference here of about $130 between these phones. Now, looking at the back of them physically, I really like the texture and the color of the Pixel 5. This one here is the Sword of Sage, and they have two different colors. They have a black and they have this one as well. So not a ton of options, but I think the aesthetic of it is really nice. Although I will say the rounded edges and the kind of single piece design, it's also an aluminum back. It feels nice and it works very well as a phone, but it doesn't look quite as premium as the iPhone 12. You can see the really flat edges and the flat back with the aluminum rails on the side and the glass back. It gives it a really nice premium aesthetic, and there are, I believe, 5 different colors. So I'll flash them on the screen right now. So as far as that goes, I would give the advantage aesthetically to the iPhone. Now, looking at the cameras, I'm going to jump into a full camera test later on in this video, but the cameras are a really almost identical setup. They both have an ultra-wide lens, they both have a wide-angle lens, they both have a microphone and a flash on the back. Now, both of these phones have some more hidden features on the back as well. So the iPhone has MagSafe, which is their cool new feature. You can slap on a wireless charger that sticks magnetically to it, as well as cases and wallets and stuff like that. Now, the Pixel 5 doesn't have that, but I wouldn't hold that against this phone because it still has wireless charging and it works on a MagSafe charger as well. And on top of that, it also has reverse wireless charging, which in my opinion is a really nice feature to have. You can charge other phones with your phone. You can charge your earbuds with your phone. You can charge watches with your phone. It's a really nice feature to have baked into the back of your phone for anytime you're in a pickle. We also have the fingerprint sensor on the back, which brings us to the front of the screen actually. The iPhone 12 here has the big notch on the top, which has advantages and disadvantages. Use Face Unlock for the iPhone, and you're using a fingerprint unlock on the Pixel. Now, between the two of them, I know a lot of iPhone users are going to argue that Face Unlock is better, but after actually using these for a couple days, I found that it's just faster and easier to use the back of the phone. So when you pick it up, your finger's naturally there. You never press any buttons, you never swipe anything, you're just automatically signed into your phone. I think it's a really nice, robust way to use that. And on top of that, it frees up a lot of space on the top of your phone screen. So looking at the screens, we'll see that, like I said, we have the notch on the top of the iPhone 12, which has the Face ID on there, the selfie camera, and a speaker. The speaker is an advantage I'll get to later on in the video. But as far as the screen quality goes, it's kind of an interesting tie here. It depends on what you're looking for. So the iPhone screen, you'll clearly notice, is more bright, more vibrant, and it has darker blacks. Like the color of it when you're not doing anything just looks a lot better. Now the Pixel phone, on the other hand, you have a better screen to body ratio, so you don't have that big notch. You have a small cutout instead. And on top of that, even though it's not as high quality of a screen with color, you have a faster refresh rate, which means when you're swiping around, it just feels a lot smoother. This is something that if you've never tried it, you probably wouldn't know that you really like that. But once you start using it and you switch back to a 60 hertz screen, so 90 on the Pixel 5, 60 on the iPhone, it just feels a lot slower and it kind of hurts your eyes to look at. It's really hard to explain until you actually try this, guys, but just trust me, that's a big advantage of the Pixel 5. If you're just watching Netflix, the Pixel 5 or the iPhone 12 definitely has a better color, better brightness, and it's a better looking screen. So I might give the advantage to the iPhone 12 there. Actually, guys, I just remembered there's another feature about the iPhone 12 screen which gives it a clear advantage over the Pixel. This is the true tone display, which means when you're in different lighting environments, if it's bright daylight, if it's kind of a dim yellow light, the screen will adjust accordingly and look more natural, easier on your eyes, and just overall better looking in all of those environments. The Pixel, it sort of has like some auto brightness changing, but it's going to be a much better display on the iPhone 12, despite not having that fast refresh rate and despite not having the small cutout camera. Now this is subtle, but definitely an advantage of the Pixel 5. It comes with a fast charging block in the box, so you don't have to go out there and buy a USB Type-C charging brick, which the iPhone 12s, as of this year, they don't come with that. Now, as far as size goes, these are almost identical. I would say that the Pixel phone might be slightly thinner. It's about 10% lighter, so almost a negligible difference there as well. And it has round corners, so maybe it'll slide in and out of your pocket a little bit easier. But I think the flat sides of the iPhone 12 will make it easier to hold and less likely to drop. But on top of that, if you do drop it, this does have the new ceramic shield on the iPhone 12, which means it should be significantly stronger and less likely to shatter when you drop it in any orientation in comparison to the Pixel 5 here. Now, the Pixel 5, I mean, as far as screens go, they're both possible to get a scratch on them, but they are flat screens, so I would recommend putting a tempered glass screen protector on there just so you don't scratch it. And otherwise, I mean, physical differences, we don't have much. The speaker is one that I mentioned before. So now let's get into the camera setup on these phones. Looking at the Pixel 5 here, we have a 16 megapixel ultra wide, a 12 megapixel or 12.2 megapixel wide angle lens, and then an 8 megapixel selfie camera. And on the iPhone, all three lenses are 12 megapixels. But starting off with the video quality, this is where the iPhone is really going to excel for the most part, but the Pixel has some cool features. So the iPhone is going to be able to shoot, I mean, they talked all about it. They're Dolby HDR, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos. Like, it has a lot of really great quality footage on here. And so it's going to look really good. It's honestly incredible, and it's going to look excellent on your phone. Of course, if you want to edit that on other devices, a lot of other things don't use Dolby right now for HDR, but eventually that will probably become more common. Regardless, the iPhone shoots superior video in broad daylight at night, and I'll show you some examples here in a second. Now, the Pixel, however, has a really cool feature, as you can see right here, where you're able to have a couple different stabilization methods. So you can have it stabilizing, I mean, all synthetic here, it's all digital on board, but you can do like a cinematic pan, you can do things that are kind of just different types of stabilizations. I think it's a really cool feature that they have, and so it's something that we don't see on the iPhone. For your average person trying to take videos of like their kids running around the house, it's definitely a big advantage there. All right, so this is a sample video right here. You can see as I pan around, the colors look really good on those trees over there. If we go up, we see the sky. This is not with the Dolby HDR on there, however. Let's see if we can zoom in and out. So if I pinch to zoom, we zoom out. Zooming in, you can see the lens switch is pretty smooth. And we can zoom all the way into 3x right here. You can see again, the sky looks pretty good. The trees over there, I think, look really good as far as color goes. And we can zoom out to 0.6x, that's the ultra wide lens there. A little bit more washed out because we have more of the sky in there. But as we look down, it's still really stable actually. So I'm moving and it just kind of jerks when I finally move. So good stability. As we zoom in, you can see 2x zoom, again, also really, really stable. I'm pretty shaky right now, and this is stabilizing way more than you realize. All right, now I'm recording myself right now with the rear camera, so about an arm's length away, and we have the microphone on the back next to the cameras. So this is what it would sound like. Again, comment down below and let me know what this sounds like to you. Now I'm just filming myself with the rear camera right now, holding it at a normal length away. So this is to test the microphone on the back and the video quality for skin tones as well. So comment down below. Let me know how this looks and sounds to you. All right, now this is the front-facing selfie camera. A big benefit is that this is also 4K on this phone. And again, it looks really good. We have great color behind me. I mean, as far as selfie cameras go, this is probably the best video out there. All right, now this is the front-facing camera in 1080p. The quality is definitely not going to be as good as the iPhone on this. You can see the HDR is not looking quite as good behind me, but comment down below. Let me know how this looks and sounds to you. So as far as video goes, as cool as I think the stabilization is, I think the clear winner is definitely going to be the iPhone 12 here. It just shoots significantly better videos than almost any other phone on the market right now. Now the next category is actually the still photos, which is where the Pixel 5 really starts to excel. It's something that Google has spent a lot of time focusing on. And so they have really cool things on there like Astrophotography mode, which if you look at this picture right here, it's just hard to believe that a phone took this picture. But regardless, I mean, they're able to do that with a lot of their software on board. But let's get into some of the photos to see a direct comparison between these two phones.
So starting off with the Pixel, the photos look very sharp with a very natural color, and then the iPhone has a warmer tone to it, a little bit more pleasant and more saturated as well. When we zoom into 2x, the Pixel does preserve more detail, but neither of them have telephoto lenses. So at 5x, they both kind of break down, but I think the Pixel is slightly better with this. Again, the iPhone has a warmer color. And then looking at the selfie camera, when we're looking at portrait mode, the Pixel 5 looks okay, but definitely the skin tones look a little bit warmer, a little bit more pleasant on the iPhone 12. And then with the rear camera, the Pixel 5 portrait mode zooms in a little bit more, and then the iPhone 12 I think is a little bit more natural there. When just looking at the trees, you can see this is again a subtle difference with the color, but in the fall, the iPhone 12 I think looks better. As for which camera is actually better, it depends on what you're looking for in which situation. So at night, astrophotography obviously is way better on the Pixel. The Pixel also generally has a better sharpness, more clarity, and a more natural representation, but the iPhone photos are a little bit more pleasing to look at, being a little bit more warm, a little softer, and a smoother HDR going on.
The next category is the internal components of these phones, and the first one I want to talk about is actually the storage on board, how much you can actually save on these phones. So you have 128 gigabytes on the Pixel 5 just by default, which is really a lot of storage to have. And then the iPhone 12 here only has 64 gigabytes unless you pay a significant extra amount of money to get 128. So when you look at 128 versus 128, the iPhone 12 is like $200 more expensive. But the advantage is you could also upgrade the iPhone 12 up to 256. Again, more money, but if you really want that much storage, you don't have that option with the Pixel 5. Now, as far as the internal, like the processor goes, the A14 Bionic chip is the one powering the iPhone 12, which admittedly it is the most powerful processor in pretty much any phone out there. So even the $2,000 Android phones don't have any more power than the A14 Bionic. So that's definitely a really big advantage, especially at this price point, to be having that processor on there. On the flip side, we have a relatively weaker processor on the Pixel 5. So the equivalent, like the most powerful Android processor, is the Snapdragon 865 right now. And then this is one tier down at the 765, which means it's going to be fast. And admittedly, like Google did design their interface to work with that processor. So Google Apps open really quickly. Everything works very well on the phone, but over time, how well is that actually going to hold up? Is it going to slow down? I mean, it's just speculation right now, but as far as processor power goes, it's a clear winner. The iPhone 12 is just way, way more powerful. And then the last category I didn't want to focus on much. This is the operating systems. So Google Pixel 5 is running a really clean version of Android, which is very, very similar to what Apple's running, being iOS. And so they're both going to be easy operating systems. Both phones have 5G. Both of them have the equivalent of iMessage or Google Messaging. Both of them have Google Duo versus FaceTime. Both of them nearby share versus AirDrop. Like, they have a lot of the same stuff on the operating systems. They're both mature operating systems, and I mean, they're gonna work very similarly. So I didn't want to talk about that too much in the video. All right, guys, so in conclusion, which phone's a better buy? Well, I think that it's pretty clear the iPhone 12 is a better phone, but it's definitely selling at a significantly higher price once you start to add more storage on there. And if you want an unlocked phone, you're looking at around $200 extra for the iPhone 12. Now, is it worth the extra $200? Well, you're getting a more premium design and a much more powerful processor, as well as better video quality. But the Pixel 5 is definitely a very capable phone as well. So between the two of these, it comes down to really what you're looking for in a phone. They're both very capable, and I think a lot of people will be very happy with either of these. Personally, I would say if you can afford the difference between them, the iPhone 12 would probably be a better buy. But at that point, if you're spending an extra $200 for that, there are other Android phones that are very powerful and very similar to the iPhone 12. And I can compare those in the future if you guys want. So comment down below if you have any questions about these phones or any other comparisons you would like to see. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.